Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm doing my first tutorial video. Today we're doing first 15 tricks you should learn as a beginner. So we're just gonna jump right into that. So first trick you should learn when you pick up a kendama is called big cup. Looks like this. Alright, so that's the first trick you should learn. It's a little obvious, it's fairly simple. You're just pulling it up and landing on the big cup. So for this, I would say you should learn to use your knees. That's a very key thing in kendama, is to use your knees to land things. Even for simple tricks, when you're first starting, it's a lot easier when you use your knees. So just bend your knees, and then you can like go back down when you come up. Just bend your knees and kind of use your knees to cushion it on the big cup. So that's big cup. Bend your knees, land it on there. You don't want to yank it up there and then try and get it on. You just want to gently pull it up, cushion it with your knees. Alright, so that's number one, big cup. Alright, so we're going to move on to number two now. This one's called small cup, looks like this. Alright, so for this one, it's kind of the same concept. We're going to pull it up, bend our knees, but instead of landing on big cup, we're going to kind of twist our wrist like this, like we're checking our watch, and land it on the small cup. Like this, okay? You can just hold it like this, hold it in normal grip and just land on the small cup because it's a little smaller. But generally you want to learn how to do it in this grip with your thumb on top and fingers on the bottom, and how to pull it up and twist your wrist, land on the small cup. So make sure you really use your knees again. Alright, so that's number two, small cup. Number three, so third cup, base cup. So for this one, you're going to hold it in base cup grip, so like that. Alright, so same thing again, it's another cup. It's a little harder because base cup always wants to roll off. So just really use your knees, and just as it's coming down, just cushion it with your knees. Okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but just use your knees a lot and just pull it up straight and soft, and you'll eventually get the feel of it and get the muscle memory. Alright, so that's number three, base cup. So those are all the cups on here. So this is not an official trick, but once you learn to pull up each of the cups, you can go from cup to cup. So you can go, big cup to small cup to base cup. That's called around the block. Looks like this. That's just around the block. That's not official trick in our 15, but that's just something you should learn to not only pull up the cups, but to go from cup to cup. So yeah, that's just basically just hopping it from cup to cup. Again, you just need to get the feel of it in your hand. And just make sure when you go into small cup or base cup that you just twist your wrist all the way so it doesn't fall off. Alright, so those are the cups. We're moving to number four, which is pull up spike. Now, looks like this. Alright, let's pull up spike. So this is one of the main things you want to do when you see kendama. You want to land on a spike, not just the cups. So for spike, you want to, again, use your knees, but the problem with spike is that when you pull it up, you're not just landing on a cup. You have to land it in this hole, and so it often tilts a little bit and you just bounce off. So really, you just need to get used to pulling it up completely straight, so you can just practice pulling it up completely straight. One of the ways that can help you with this is if you spin the ball with your hand, spin the ball like that. You see that it's spinning. That way when you pull it up, it stays straight and it's a lot easier to land spikes. So generally you want to learn to do it without doing that. You want to learn to just do a pull-up spike. But if you just want to just practice pulling up to spike and just practice your hand-eye coordination, you can just spin it and that'll make it stay straight. So just use your knees. Take some time to get the hand-eye coordination in. And yeah, just remember when you're pulling it up, you don't want to have it completely straight like this, because you see the base cup will rub against the string a little bit, and that can cause it to tilt a little bit, and even a little bit of tilt can cause it to bounce off. So just kind of hold it at an angle like this, not too much. You don't want to hold it flat, but just hold it at a little bit of an angle, and then just pull it up and land it on the spike. It takes practice, but once you get it, it's a really fun trick. Alright, so that's number four, spike. Now we're going to move on to number five. This one's called penguin catch. Alright, it looks like this. Alright, looks like that. So the thing with this trick is you're landing it on base cup, but instead of doing this, you're going to pull it up like you're going for a spike, but you're kind of rotate the Ken to where the spike normally is. You're gonna put the base cup there. So it's called penguin because you're twisting it, and it's kind of hard to twist your wrist at first. I don't know why it's actually called penguin, but that's penguin catch. Twist your wrist, land on the base cup. It's hard. It takes a lot of practice because it always wants to roll off, but it's a very fun trick. So that's number 5. Number 6 is Earthturn. All right, looks like this. All right, it's pretty simple, but it's a lot harder than it looks, I'd say. So really, all you're doing is, obviously, you have ball and spike, and you're flipping it and landing it back on the spike. Now, again, you want to use your knees and kind of throw it up there. I would recommend not doing a super fast. You don't want to do a super fast flip because either you're going to flip it too many times, or you're just not going to be able to track it. So you want to bend your knees and kind of do it slowly so that you can kind of see where the hole is. As it's coming around, you can kind of track that hole and bend it and just get it in. So it takes hand-eye coordination and a lot of practice, and you kind of get more hand-eye coordination if you keep doing kendama. So yeah, just keep working on it, and you'll master it eventually. So that's the trick, Earthturn. All right, it's number 7. Moving on to that one. This one's called airplane. Looks like this. All right. So as you notice, I'm now holding the ball. This is called tama grip because this is your Ken, this is your tama. So this is Ken grip and tama grip. So you're gonna be holding the ball in tama grip, and basically you're swinging the Ken into the ball, just like that. All right. And what I recommend is you wanna kind of hold the Ken at your waist here. All right, and then you want to kind of swing it out. You can just do this, swing it out and come back and catch it. That's going to be kind of your airplane motion. So when you do an airplane, you want to kind of swing it out and then go down, kind of swing, go down, and then kind of pull it up like that. So you don't want to keep tension on the string too long, because if you swing it and you keep that string tension as it's swinging, it's going to overswing and it's not going to go in. So you kind of want to swing it down like that and then give it a little tug down there. Not too hard, you don't want it to go crazy, but just give it a little tug so that it kind of just, there's no tension. It kind of just flies in the air, if you can see that. It kind of just flies in the air, and then once it's in the air, you can just spot that up and land it in the hole. So that's number 7, airplane. All right, so going back to Ken grip now. Number 8 is called cup to spike. Looks like this. All right, so the cup to spike, you're pulling up the cup. Now, obviously you're on the cup and you're hopping into spike, but one of the things with this trick is you normally want it to be in good position, about like this, because that makes it easier to just hop it in. So when you first start this trick, you can just place it like that. But when I do, as I pull it up to cup and then spike it, I kind of, as I'm pulling up a cup, I don't just straight pull it up, but I kind of give it a little flick outward, because if you flick it outward, the ball turns like this, and it lands like that. So that's a little hard, take some practice, but that's a good way to land it with it in good position. And for the actual spiking, a common mistake is you notice that it's going to be, you want it to drop in this way, come towards you, but it's just going away from you. Now, the reason for that is because, you're oftentimes, not always, but a common mistake is you'll kind of hold the Ken towards you, and that'll cause the ball to, roll this way. You don't want it to go that way. So you kind of just want to throw it up and let it drop in. Just let it drop in the spike. That's basically how you want to do it. It takes some muscle memory to kind of get that feel, and then once you do it, you can just keep going and do a bunch of them. You can see how many you can do in a row. That's what's fun about this trick. So yeah, that's the trick, cup to spike. Looks like that. All right, move on to number 9. Number 9 is called swing spike. Looks like this. All right, so it's another way to get it to spike, but it's a little trickier than pull-up spike. So it's kind of the same concept of airplane. You're swinging it, All right, so with swing spike, I'd say you kind of want to, same thing as airplane, hold it up by your waist and then let go down. I'd say swing spike generally needs a little more of a tug because the Ken kind of rotates itself a little bit as a tug just because of the, I don't know, the way it's weighted. But the ball, it's just a ball, so you kind of need to give it a decent tug. And a common problem is that when you pull it, it's not flipping far enough. And you're just bouncing off the back of it. So I'd recommend you just kind of need to give it a good, not a yank, but a decent tug down there because you need the ball to spin enough so that you can spike it. So that's number 9, swing spike. Just takes practice, muscle memory. You'll get it. So we're gonna move on to number 10 now. This trick's called J hops. Looks like this. All right, looks like that. So it's basically a backwards Earthturn. You're not flipping the ball, but you're flipping the Ken. So it's a little harder than Earthturn, but you're gonna you can just place it in here for when you're just practicing. And same thing as an Earthturn, but again, it's just a harder version. You don't want to do a really fast flip. You know, you don't want to flip it really fast because then you're not going to be really able to see where the spike is and be able to spike it. So you want to bend your knees. Make sure you use your knees for this trick. And just kind of throw it up there and just kind of land it in. As you can see, since I missed it, it's very tricky because the spike's pretty small. So it takes a lot of practice to learn to get it in there. But really, you just want to bend your knees, throw it up slowly, and land it in there. So that's number 10, J hops. Take some hand-eye coordination, but you'll get it. Just keep practicing. All right, so number 11, sorry. This one is a really fun trick. It's called orbit. Looks like this. All right, so the thing with this trick is you're just pulling it up to cup, but as you can see, I'm orbiting the ball, then landing on the cup. So it's really fun, but it definitely is tricky at first. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull it up, and as you're pulling it up, same motion, you're gonna kind of pull it up and then do an orbit, hence the name, around the ball, an orbit around the ball, and then you're just gonna bring it back and land it on there. So it's a little tricky, but it's really fun. So one of the things for this trick is make sure you're not doing kind of in front like that. As you can see, a little exaggerated, but you don't want to do it like that because I'm just spinning it in front of it. You want to do a full orbit like that. So then once you do an orbit, you can do more orbits from cup. You do cup, orbit, cup. That's a fun thing to learn because you can just, again, see how many you can do. So that's the trick orbit. All right, now we're gonna move on to number 12. Number 12 is in a new grip. It's called Candlestick. Looks like this. All right, so for this trick, as you can see, we're in a new grip. It's candlestick grip, and or just candle grip, whichever one. And basically, it's kind of a harder version of base cup. You're not holding it like this. You're holding the spike. So just use your 2 fingers here and your thumb, and just kind of tightly grip that spike so it's solid. Because oftentimes, it's going to be a little wobbly, which is why with base cup it kind of wants to wobble off and just kind of roll off like that. So just kind of hold it up straight. Make sure you really use your knees, bend your knees, and just kind of cushion it on there. That's Candlestick. It's a really fun trick, but it's kind of tricky. The grip's a little weird because it doesn't feel very, very firm. So really use your knees on this one. Really emphasize your knees, and just pull up to base cup. That's basically the gist of the trick. So we're gonna move on to number 13 now. Back to Ken grip. This one's called Frying Pan. It's a little bit of a funny name. It looks like this. So to land Frying Pan, you're just pulling it up, and as you can see, you're landing it in between the 2 cups and on top of the spike. Now you can just do it like this, where the hole is just on top or something. But as you see, it's a lot more wobbly, and it wants to fall off a lot more. So I would recommend when you're learning it to try and do it like a spike and pull it up straight and land it with the hole on top of the spike, because that way it's a lot sturdier and it's just easier to land once you learn to pull it up completely straight. So, like I said, it's a little tricky, but it's a pretty fun trick. It's kind of unique. It's a very unique trick. And then a fun way to spike it, it's called slip and stick. Slip on stick, whichever. So it's kind of, looks like this, like that. You're kind of just, you're pulling the Ken out and then kind of putting it back in. This is not an official trick in our 15, but it's kind of a fun way to spike it. So it's kind of tricky because it slides off wrong sometimes or just doesn't land. But it's a really fun way to spike it once you kind of get the hang of it. So that's number 13, frying pan. All right, now we're going to number 14. So this one's called Kenflip. Looks like this. All right, so it's another kind of like orbit. We're pulling up the cup, but we're not orbiting the ball. We're doing Kenflip in the air. So that's what this is called. Flipping in your hands, Kenflip, because you're flipping the Ken, obviously. So to practice this trick, I'd recommend just, you know, practice flipping it in your hand. Try and get fast. So it takes a lot of practice because it's a lot harder than it looks to flip it fast. You kind of want to use your thumb. You got your fingers on the bottom. You just want to use your thumb to push down and get it nice, really fast flip. So then you're just gonna pull it up and flip it at the same time. You're not pulling it up then flipping it, but you're just gonna pull them both at the same time. Land it on the cup. So once you've done that, you can do what's called cup Kenflip cup. Looks like this. So it's the same trick, Kenflip, but you're doing it from cup. So the thing with this trick is if you try and do it completely straight like this, it's gonna fly back at you because as you can see, you're flipping the Ken this way. It's coming towards you, so the ball is naturally coming towards you. So how you prevent that is kind of tilt the Ken down like this, so that the ball now wants to go this way, but when you flip it, it wants to go this way. So those two kind of like cancel out, and it kind of goes up straight. And then once you kind of get that down, you get the ball going up straight. All you have to do is land it on the cup. So that's Kenflip. That's number 14. We're gonna move on to number 15. Our last trick, we're back to Tama grip. It's a very tricky trick. Yep, it's kind of funny. But it looks like this. That's Lighthouse. All right, so for this trick, obviously you're landing the base cup on top of the ball. So that's why it's called Lighthouse, because it kind of looks like a lighthouse. So for this trick, you want to really use your knees, because if you don't use your knees, it's very difficult as a beginner to learn this trick. So just really use your knees and learn to pull it up straight, because you want it to just pull up perfectly straight so that the base cup is just coming up, and then you can just land it right on there. So once you kind of get that pull up, you'll notice I land it and it slips off. That's normally what will first happen. Is you'll get the pull up, but then it'll slip off. So there's a couple reasons this could be happening. Number one, it's sometimes I kind of have a sticky paint on mine, which kind of helps it stick a lot better, so that you can do other tricks and stuff. But really, some kendamas don't have that, and some kind of have like a glossy paint. So some are really slick and kind of slide all the way around, and it's just a lot harder to land it on that. So I would recommend, if you want to kind of learn to really get good at this trick, because it's a really fun trick, really key kendama trick, that you get some sort of sticky paint. I mean, you can get a good sticky paint for like 20 bucks. And this one was like Sweets Kendamas, $20. So I'd recommend that. You can still land it on glossy paint. I'm not saying you can't, but it'll definitely be more difficult. So another reason for it just sliding off is when it lands, you need to learn to adjust it, because it's gonna slide this way and you wanna adjust it. So just take some practice. It takes a lot of practice to just learn to be able to adjust it. So I'd say you should just set it on the Lighthouse, and just kind of practice, get used to that feel. You can walk around with it, you can go up the stairs, you can jump with it, you can do whatever. But just kind of get used to that feel of having it on there, and then you'll kind of get used to the adjustment of it. So once you kind of put all that together and you just nice straight pull up, land it on Lighthouse, and then you want to spike it, which is that's called falling in. So that can be a little tricky, but it's the easiest way to spike it. So you're just gonna push out with the ball, and Ken's just gonna tilt down, and you're just gonna land in the spike. It's a little tricky, but you'll get it. So that's basically the trick Lighthouse. You pull it up and drop in the spike, which the spike is a very, very hard part, as you can see, since I just missed it. But it just kind of takes a lot of practice, as all these tricks do. So once you start really getting good at Lighthouse, you can try and when you're pulling it up, give the can a little twist with your fingers, because as you get better and better at Kendama, you're gonna wanna go into more tricks, and you can go into a trick called Lunar, just like that. So, I mean, I'd say if you wanna really go with Kendama, it's a good way to learn Lighthouse, to twist it, so that once you get better, you can learn to drop it into Lunar. So when you're first just learning Lighthouse, you can just have it like this and just pull up. But as you get better, that's a thing you can do to kind of be able to go into other tricks. So yeah, that's the trick Lighthouse. Alright, so that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope this helped you guys out. Hope you learned some new tricks. Yeah, thanks for watching. You can leave a comment on what you think we should do next in our next video, and what you thought of this video. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in our next video.